is about to be August. When you're watching this video, it is August. I am currently existing in July, but I'm so close, like so close to actually reading all of the books that I put in my July TBR, which happens more rarely than I'd like to admit. It is not that frequent an occurrence that I actually manage to read every single book that I say I want to read in each month because, you know, I'm a mood reader. As the course of the month goes on, I buy new books or I find new books and I'm like, I want to read that right now. But July's gone very well for me, so I'm hoping I can keep up this trend with my August TBR. How's that for a segue? So these are the books that I would like to read this fine August. And I do feel like I read more during the summer, so fingers crossed this happens. Oh wait, let me turn my light on. Oh, I should have done that before. I knew there was something missing. Oh well, sorry about the change in lighting. This is my August TBR. Let me tell you about them. Firstly, we have Pod by Layleen Paul. This was nominated for the Women's Prize. It was shortlisted, and it is a book about dolphins. It's about a pod of dolphins. I have to say the cover makes it look a bit crap, but although I had initially kind of written it off a little bit, when I then heard firstly Lena Norms talk about how good this book is. She's one of my favourite YouTubers. She read all of the books that were longlisted for this year's Women's Prize, and she said this, I think, was her winner. And then I got to go to the Women's Prize announcement, and each of the shortlisted authors read an extract from their books, and the way that Layleen Paul spoke about this book was so captivating and fascinating, and I did like a full 180, and now I'm desperate to read this book. And I feel like reading a book about dolphins is kind of a cool summer vibe, so let me read you the blurb. Ia has always felt like an outsider. Suffering from a type of deafness, she cannot master the rituals that unite her pod of spinner dolphins. When tragedy strikes her family and Ia knows she's partially to blame, she decides to make the ultimate sacrifice and leave. As Ia ventures out without the protection of her pod, she discovers dangers everywhere. But just as she is coming to terms with her solitude, a chance encounter with a group of arrogant bottlenoses will irrevocably alter the course of her life. In her terrifying, propulsive novel, Layleen Paul explores the true meaning of family, survival, sacrifice, the harmony and tragedy of the pod, within an ocean that is no longer the sanctuary it once was, one which reflects a world all too recognisable to our own. So I think this is kind of like a bit of a microcosm of society, and just such an intriguing concept. So I didn't think this would end up in a monthly TBR, and yet here we are. Sticking with the theme of being wet? The ocean. Sticking with the theme of the ocean. This is Lucy by the Sea. Sometimes I'm good at segues, sometimes I'm really, really not. This is by Elizabeth Strout, who Zadie Smith describes as a terrific writer. I wholeheartedly agree. The Lucy Barton series follows this one family. So there's another novel called My Name is Lucy Barton. I have only read one of these books, and it's called Oh William, and that is the one that comes in order just before this one, but you don't actually have to read them in that order. You can kind of, they work as standalone books as well. So I read Oh William, this is the follow-up to that book, so I guess you could also read this as a standalone, but I found her writing style so bingeable, so easy to read, so palatable, and so I think this is a perfect beach read for me. Oh, hold that thought, because I have a smooth segue onto the next book after this one. Okay, hold that thought. In March 2020, Lucy's ex-husband William pleads with her to leave New York and escape to a coastal house he has rented in Maine. Lucy reluctantly agrees, leaving the washing up in the sink, expecting to be back in a week or two. Weeks turn into months, and it's just Lucy, William, and their complex past together in a little house nestled against the sea. So Lucy and William are exes, but they're also friends. Rich with an empathy and a searing clarity, Lucy by the Sea evokes the fragility and uncertainty of the recent past, as well as the possibilities that those long, quiet days can inspire. At the heart of this miraculous novel are the deep human connections that sustain us even as the world seems to be falling apart. So this is Elizabeth Strout's pandemic novel. I think as time goes on, we're going to see each big author's pandemic novel, and I'm intrigued by this. Are they going to get back together? Oh my god, that's scandalous. That's crazy. I'm actually invested in this family now, like they're just like reality TV. So that is Lucy by the Sea. And like I said, that is going to be a beach read for me, as is this one. This is Beach Read by Emily Henry. Two writers, one holiday, a rom-com waiting to happen. Now, I've had a mixed response to Emily Henry novels. If I were to rate them, and this I know is so controversial, I would put Book Lovers at the bottom. I really didn't like that book. Then People We Meet on Vacation, and then miles above those would be Happy Place. I really enjoyed Happy Place. And this is the only one of her novels that I haven't yet read, so this is Beach Read. And most people, from my perception at least, seem to say this is their favourite one. This is number one. Or at least they did before Happy Place, I don't know. But a lot of people seem to have really responded well to this book, and so I'm intrigued by it. January is a hopeless romantic who narrates her life like she's the lead in a blockbuster movie. Of course her name is January. Like, that's absurd. Anyway, Gus is a serious literary type who thinks true love is a fairy tale. But January and Gus have more in common than you'd think. They're both broke, they have crippling writer's block, is what it says. And they need to write bestsellers before summer ends. Oh, it's a love story about writers. Okay, I'm in. The result, a bet to swap genres and see who gets published first. The risk, in telling each other's stories, their worlds might be changed entirely. Love that premise. I love that premise. I'm gonna eat this up, and coming with me on holiday to Greece, where I'll also be reading some more Greek mythology. This is Clytemnestra's Bind. Clytemnestra or Clytemnestra? Do you know? I'm not sure. That's, you know those words where you've only seen it written down? I can't remember ever hearing her name out loud. Anyways, she is the wife of Agamemnon, who kills him. And so I feel like I know roughly what the book is going to entail, but it's a story I'm intrigued by. Placing one of Greek mythology's most reviled characters at the heart of this story, a woman who challenged the absolute power of men, this is a fiery tale of power, family rivalry, and a mother's burning love. The house of Atreus is spiralling into self-destruction. A woman must find a way to break the family curse. Queen Clytemnestra's world shatters when Agamemnon, a rival to the throne of Mycenae, storms her palace, destroys her family, and claims not only the throne, but her as well. Tormented by her loss, she vows to do all she can to protect the children born from her unhappy marriage to Agamemnon. But when her husband casts his ruthless gaze towards the wealthy citadel of Troy, his ambitions threaten to once more destroy the family that she loves. I love Greek mythological retellings, so very much looking forward to this. I just read Stoneblind and Atalanta, so I've been getting my kind of fix of like feminist Greek mythological retellings, and this is the next in that saga for me. But before we move on to the next book, I am delighted to let you know that today's video is very kindly brought to you by Squarespace, who help me bring this monthly TBR to you every month. And what Squarespace can help you with is creating a beautiful website or online store. Because no coding experience is required, they have hundreds of incredible templates that you can use and customize to create something that is completely and entirely your own, and basically bring your creative vision to life. There's really great features, including the blogging feature, so you can share what's going on behind the scenes, what you're working on, and connect with your audience. And then you can use the analytics tool to see what that audience is engaging with, what they want to see more of. Of course, having a website that explains who you are and what you're about is incredibly important. For a lot of people, it will be the first surface that they encounter when they experience you and your brand. And so if you'd like to have a play around with the features on Squarespace, you can head to squarespace.com for a free trial. And then when you're ready to launch your beautiful new website, you can use the code JackInTheBooks at squarespace.com/JackInTheBooks to get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So thank you so much, Squarespace. I really appreciate your support. And now, the next book. Now, the next book is this one. This is translated from Japanese. It's called Hit Parade of Tears, and this is a short story collection. It's by Izumi Suzuki and translated by, where's the translator's name? Sam Bett, David Boyd, Helen O'Horan, and Daniel Joseph. It's a new collection of stories from the cult author of Terminal Boredom. Izumi Suzuki had ideas about doing things differently, ideas that paid little attention to the laws of physics or the laws of the land. In this new collection, her skewed imagination distorts and enhances some of the classic concepts of science fiction and fantasy. So there you go, that is Hit Parade of Tears. I think that cover is awesome, and I'm very much looking forward to reading this. This is from Verso Books, who published some really, really interesting fiction, so I think this is going to be very, very cool. Now, this one I bought specifically because of the title. It's just so good. The title of this book is By Grand Central Station, I Sat Down and Wept. Now, I made a video on my channel called like my favourite book titles ever, and I went through, oh, the notebook is actually right in front of me. This notebook where I write down book titles that I really love, both for my own book, when I come up with them, but also when I encounter another book title that I think is great. I also write it down just for kind of inspiration. And I made a video where I read those out, and I asked you guys to comment your favourite book titles or books you have bought specifically because of the title. And this is one that someone commented. As soon as I read their comment saying there was a book called By Grand Central Station, I sat down and wept. It was in my basket and on its way to my house. Like, I needed this. So I did buy it. And Angela Carter, who is an icon, described it as, like Madame Bovary, blasted by lightning, a masterpiece. And I'm so pumped to read this book. I think this might actually be my top priority. I think this is the next book I'm going to read because it just sounds so good. Once I'm finished with the July TBR. I'm so close, so nearly finished. But let me read you the blurb. Perhaps I am his hope, but then she is his present. And if she is his present, I am not his present. Therefore, I am not. And I wonder why no one has noticed I am dead and taken the trouble to bury me. For I am utterly collapsed. I lounge with glazed eyes, or weep tears of sheer weakness. Oh man, alive! I love books that are so dramatic. I love books that are about like unrequited love and that kind of like obsessive love and affection you can have for someone who doesn't reciprocate it. I cannot wait to dive into this. Like, I'm just so excited. Anyways, the final book that I have on my list for August specifically is this one. I know what you're all gonna say. I'm not normally a fantasy boy, but I have heard so much hype about this goddamn book, The Fourth Wing, or just Fourth Wing, that I have to read it, right? I'm making another one of my videos of like the most popular books on BookTok and BookTube, and this is the book that everyone is talking about right now. This is the new Babel, this is the new Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow, this is the book that every single person is discussing, making videos about, and I have to read it. So this is Fourth Wing. This is by Rebecca Yarros. The cover says, graduate or die. Brutal games, grumpy dragons, sizzling sexual tension, says Jennifer L. Armentrout. Let me read you the blurb. Oh, it's so long. Let me read you a condensed version, an abridged version of this blurb. Welcome to the brutal and elite world of Basgiath War College. 20-year-old Violet was supposed to enter the scribe quadrant, living a quiet life among books and history. Now the commanding general, her tough as Talon's mother, has ordered Violet to join the hundreds of candidates striving to become the elite of Navarre, dragon riders. This could be another language. What the fuck is going on? I think it helps actually being able to see this map, because, okay, so I can see Navarre is there. But when you're smaller than everyone else and your body is brittle, death is only a heartbeat away, because dragons don't bond to fragile humans, they incinerate them. With fewer dragons willing to bond than cadets, most would kill Violet to better their own chances of success. The rest would kill her just for being her mother's daughter. Shaden Rioson, the most powerful and ruthless wing leader in the Riders Quadrant. You know what? I'm just gonna read it, and I'm sure all this will make sense. I think like the blurbs of fantasy novels are always just so baffling because there's like so many new words, but I'm going into this with a very open mind. I think that so many people are connecting with it and so many people are finding it really endearing and captivating, and I'm sure I'm going to find it the same. So very much looking forward to this, and a review will be coming this month or next month at some point. We'll see. But those are my books that I would love to read this August 2023. As always, you can follow me on Goodreads and the Storygraph and TikTok and Instagram, where I post more frequent updates of like how I'm getting on with these books. You can see my ratings before I share them on YouTube. So head over there, I'll see you over there, and all the best. Stay in touch, have a wonderful day, and have a great August. Bye-bye.